Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Flow Space. I am so excited to have you here today. Um, Today is actually like a little bit of a mental health episode. I feel like I'm literally going through a mental health episode. And honestly, the more conversations I'm having with people, the more I'm seeing that this is kind of a theme right now. We're also transitioning from from summer to fall. The days are getting shorter, it's getting darker earlier, the cold weather is slowly but surely creeping in, and I'm already going through it. So I'm sure there's other people already going through it, and if not, like the winter blues are right around the corner. So I just wanted to bring some awareness today to some of the things that I'm feeling, some of the things that we might be feeling as a whole collectively, and how we can kind of move through this together. So let's get into it. So this week has been really heavy for me, like really heavy for me. This is actually the first episode that I don't even have an outline for. I'm just gonna kind of speak from the heart and see what comes up and what we end up talking about. I don't even really know. But yeah, I'm just gonna share my story, and I'm not gonna give a ton of details because I'm still kind of like in it. But I do want to just be transparent. I want to be raw. I want to be vulnerable. Like those truly are the words of this podcast that like just stick out so much to me because we are all so much more connected than we even realize. We all go through similar things. We all go through rough patches. There are just circles and cycles of life. And I feel like there's so much healing just from hearing other people's stories and being able to relate to other people's stories and understand that we're not alone. Everything is a cycle. There are really high highs, there are really low lows. And if you're feeling a low right now, like I am, I want you to know that you're not alone. We all have bad days. We all have bad, just rough patches, and that's kind of what I'm going through. And it's funny because I feel like I tell people about it. I haven't told a ton of people. I haven't gotten into detail with a ton of people. But the few people I have mentioned it to, I feel like everyone's first reaction is like, when I say like, oh, I'm going through something, they're like, well, maybe you're just doing too much. Like maybe you need to slow down. And I'm like, that's like a twofold thing for me. So I'm noticing that my new like coping mechanism to not really kind of deal with things is to kind of fill my plate with as much as I can. So I've struggled with anxiety and depression for a really long time, like forever. Like no, truly, since I was a child, I used to get like these mini, I guess like anxiety attacks really. And I started to notice it like for the first time, or like I guess like understand that this was a pattern and something that just like kept happening to me when I was in, I think, middle school or like late elementary school. And I did dance like my whole life. And the time that really sticks out for me was the first time that I ever told somebody about it. It was before like a dance recital. And what used to happen to me is I used to like feel like I couldn't catch my breath. Like no matter how much I was breathing, it felt like I wasn't getting enough air in like my lungs. And then like my brain would be like, oh my God, like I think we're dying. And then I would be like, oh my God, like I think I'm dying. And like it was just like a thing. I never cried during them, but it was like truly like I just felt like I couldn't breathe and I never understood it. And I remember before this dance recital, I was like trying to explain it to my mom because I was like, maybe I am dying. Like this has been happening a little bit now. Like I'm noticing it more and more, like what is going on here. And there's a big push now for mental health awareness and all of that. But when I was younger, like it wasn't like something that was talked about very often. Like that's kind of something that happened as I got into high school and like older, I feel like. But when I was that young, like I didn't know what anxiety was. I'd never heard of it. Definitely didn't know what depression was. That just wasn't a part of my vocabulary, and it wasn't something that was as widely talked about, especially with younger kids. I feel like we are getting really good at explaining these terms and these coping mechanisms to younger and younger children because it does affect us from a pretty young age. But yeah, I didn't know what anxiety was. Like, I had no idea. So I didn't have anything to attach these feelings to, which I feel like caused even more panic because it was like, Like, what is happening right now? So I'm trying to explain it to my mom, and like, she's like, well, you can breathe, like, you're talking to me, but I'm like, I feel like I can't. And she's like trying to get me to like drink water. And then she's like, I think you're just anxious. And I was like, what does that even mean? And she's like, well, you have a dance recital. Like, you're just feeling nervous. Like, it's going to pass. Like, it's going to pass. And that was the first time that I had, like, again, a word to attach to those feelings. But truly, like, I have been dealing with this for a very long time. And I used to feel it very physically, like the not being able to breathe and then like that becoming a cycle. Like, I remember also being young, it would happen at night a lot too. And like, I would almost have to like psych myself into falling asleep because I felt like I couldn't breathe. And then, like, if I went to bed, like, I wasn't gonna wake up. Like, that's like how intense it got at one point. Um, and then as far as the depression goes, like, again, I didn't have a word to attach to this, but I didn't I didn't really see the point in life, to be honest. I never had thoughts of like ending anything, or if I did, it wasn't like I was actually going to go through with it. So I'm very fortunate in that way, because I know it's a lot darker and a lot heavier for a lot of other people. And my heart goes out to you if you have dealt with that or you are dealing with that, because it's hard. It's really hard. But the way that it would show up for me is just like very low energy, like wanting to sleep all the time, not wanting to be around people, isolating myself, and just like really dealing with effects like that. And that's also something that I was dealing with a lot, really all growing up. And as I've been on this movement journey and just this healing journey, I think I've mentioned it. Like, I started my spirituality journey 10 years ago now, and I was 18, which is crazy. I can't believe it's been 10 years. But that was really the first steps that I took towards like actively trying to heal myself and make myself feel better. And then obviously there was a lot of ups and downs in between there and a lot of things that kind of happened in between that in that time frame. But there were all different things that I was doing, whether it was yoga, like the spirituality piece, the crystals, the affirmations, um, just like really learning myself. And obviously, at some point, I found pole dancing and movement and all of that. And, even still now, like, so I was feeling all of those like very heavy physical effects, but I'm now realizing after having a pretty intense 2 weeks, to be honest, probably three, um, that even though I don't feel the effects of the anxiety and the depression in such a physical way anymore, they're manifesting for me in different ways. So, like I was saying before, like I noticed that I am coping with not dealing with my actual feelings by filling my plate up as much as I can right now and using it as a distraction to kind of not have to deal with my energy, which is so weird because this whole podcast, all of this content is about feeling your feelings and moving through your feelings. So again, like nobody's perfect. Even your yoga teacher, even your breathwork facilitator, even your podcast girly queen, we all freaking go through it. And it's hard to remind yourself to like practice what you preach in a way. Because like when somebody comes to me with an issue, no matter how big, how small, like my first reaction is feel your feelings, like sit in it, feel your feelings. I'm holding space for you. I'm here for you. But when it's me and I'm going through something, I'm like, no, girl, like keep pushing, keep it moving, let's go. And that's just like, I had to truly take a step back and realize, like, whoa, I'm not okay. Like, I'm not okay right now. And that's okay. I'm working through it. Um, some other things that I've kind of related to, just being in a pretty, it's a rough patch. I don't want to call it a dark place. I'm going to call it a rough patch. Being in a rough patch right now, something I've been struggling with for a little while, and I don't think I related it to anxiety at all, but now truly thinking about it, it 100% is an anxiety thing. Um, I haven't been eating as much as I should, and I've been really intentionally trying to meal prep and like batch cook and I take my fitness journey really seriously as well as my healing journey. And part of my fitness journey right now is trying to eat and like build the muscle and do all of that. And I genuinely have no desire to eat. And I go through periods actually quite often where I have no desire to eat, absolutely no appetite. The thought of food entering my mouth is actually nauseating to me. Like, I have to like coach myself through every bite. And I honestly thought that that was something wrong with like my stomach, like my gut, like something's happening in there. And I didn't relate it to anything like mental health related at all. Like that wasn't something I was even considering because I've gotten really good at just like pushing through and masking my feelings and putting on this like brave face for the world and not really dealing with everything that's been going on. Um, so yeah, I've also been having trouble sleeping. So that's another big sign that I just kind of ignored for a while. I am so tired, like truly so tired. I wake up tired and until I go to bed, I am freaking tired, but I lay there and I genuinely can't sleep. That's actually been something that's been getting a little bit better this week, which I'm excited about because what a cycle that is to just be exhausted all the time, but also not be able to sleep. It's really frustrating and annoying. I also have been dealing with really triggering dreams. That's also been a theme throughout my whole life, to be honest. Especially when I go through periods of high stress and high anxiety. Like, I dream the most realistic situations. Actually, I'll tell you a little story. I was going through something really, really heavy with my immediate family and just a memory, a trauma that I had, and it was kind of being resurfaced because there were people asking me questions about certain decisions that I was making, and I really wasn't ready to share why I was moving the way I was moving. And all of that had kind of like been bubbling up inside of me, and just like I was really holding on to it. And I had this dream where I basically was like reliving the memory in a very intense way, but as an adult. And I was fighting this person back. And I remember waking up truly in like, first of all, in a cold sweat. Like I was dripping, like I was drenched. And I woke up to my husband like holding me because in my dream I was like fighting the person, but I was actually fighting him. Like in real life, like in the bed, like I was kicking and punching, and like he said that he was trying to wake me up for like a really long time. Like he had my shoulders at one point, like he grabbed my head at one point, and he was like really trying. And like that dream like finished. Like I don't he didn't really wake me up. Like the dream kind of ended and I woke up to him like, "Are you okay? Like what just happened?" Um, which was like kind of scary and intense. But I do have like really intense, like just physical dreams, like when I'm going through something. So that is kind of what I'm feeling right now. And then this week in particular, like it just kind of really just hit me. Um, I've been crying a lot and just very easily triggered. I'm very like easily irritable. Like I find myself like getting so angry at like the smallest things or things that I'm usually able to like let roll off my chest, especially like things that are work related. Like right now, I feel like everything feels like an attack. And like I'm usually not like that. I'm usually able to kind of be like, all right, like people project, people go through their own shit. Like I get it. But right now, I'm just like, everything is taking a toll on me personally. And it's hard, it's heavy, it sucks. Like I don't want to say I'm not used to being like this because this is something that I worked so hard to get through. So I know these feelings and I'm familiar with them, but it really sucks to feel like you've worked so hard on yourself and then find yourself back at like where you were when or close to where you were when you were at a really low. Um and that's something that I'm trying to move through right now and trying to figure out and process. So, yeah, that's what I'm feeling. That's how it's presenting to me. And I wanted to share that because I feel like all of those examples are not your typical like anxiety, depression. Like they are all symptoms of it, but like when you think of anxiety and you think of depression, like you don't always think of loss of appetite. You don't always think of lack of ability to sleep or like outlandish, nightmarish dreams. Like, you don't really, like, those don't come to the forefront of the mind. So if you're dealing with anything heavy and like you're dealing, it'll manifest in the body sometime, like somehow, some way. The body will try to get it out somehow, some way. Like, you're gonna feel it eventually. And right now, this is how I'm feeling it, and it's a lot. It's a lot. So yeah, so I'll explain a little bit of what I'm going through without giving too much detail, but I just kind of want to give some context as to what is going on right now. So I have been on go mode forever now, I feel like, but truly for like a good 9 months. Like, we'll start it at like the beginning of the year-ish, even though it's really been kind of before that, but like truly just in a focus mode now for the past 9 months of like getting my content together. I was planning a wedding. I just got married at the end of May. Planning the honeymoon, like truly just doing all of this stuff, and it was a lot and it was intense, but like I had something to like keep me going. I had a lot of things distracting me. During that time, this 9 month period, um, I experienced something really heavy with my immediate family and specifically relating to the wedding. Details I don't really want to get into 100%, but I didn't really have to think about that in a deep, deep way because I was so distracted with the wedding. And to me, it was like, well, I have my wedding, like I am gonna enjoy the day either way. This is my day, this is about me, and I had the most beautiful day, I truly did. But now that everything's kind of settled down and I can really think about that situation for what it is, like I'm genuinely hurt by it, like genuinely hurt, like gutted actually by the way that things went down. And again, I didn't really have to face that feeling right away. Like I let myself feel it when it initially happened, and I actually I didn't. I let myself feel it the day after it initially happened when I was telling a really close friend about it, and she had literally told me, like, you are so strong and you are handling this with so much grace, but like, you're allowed to be upset about this. Like, you're allowed to cry. Like, you're allowed to feel what you need to feel right now to get through it. And hearing those words triggered something in me that day. Like, I cried for hours. I cried for hours. And like, I was talking myself through it and like really feeling it. And like, for a couple days after, like, same thing, just like crying and like trying to make sense of something that I really couldn't make sense of. And it was really hard. But after those like few days, I was just like, all right, like I felt it. I moved through it. Let's go. Let's plan the wedding. Let's get married. And that had happened exactly like 1 month before the wedding. So I truly was in go mode. Like, there was not really too much time to like sit and dwindle on that. Like I didn't have the time and the space for it, and I didn't want to. That was a very intentional choice that I made too. Like, I was not gonna let that ruin my day because that was truly my day, and I wasn't gonna let something take my power or take what was truly one of the most beautiful days of my life could have been so easily ruined by this situation. And I refused to do that to myself, to my husband, to all of the people that did show up. Like, I was not going to let it affect my day at all. And I didn't. And I'm proud of myself for that. But since then, it's again just been like repressing, like pushing it down. And I feel like this week, last week in particular, like I can't push it down anymore. Like, I am finding myself again really triggered by things that are reminding me of the situation, or just like when people are, I feel like, treating me poorly or not respecting my boundaries. Like, it's triggering just this anger in me. Like, I am feeling very angry right now. um Usually when I am crying, I'm not crying because I'm sad. Like, I'm so angry and I don't know how to get it out any other way. And I hate feeling like this. I haven't truly felt like this since around the pandemic when I was explaining that low to you guys a couple episodes back. Like, that was also so much anger. And I don't recognize myself in moments like this because up until that episode around the pandemic, that like low, I never dealt with intense feelings of anger ever. Like, intense sadness, yes. some angst, yes, but like true anger to the point of like I want to physically hurt somebody, like as scary as that sounds, like truly that's how I feel sometimes. Like I feel like this physical aggression needs to come out, and that scares me because I'm not that type of person. I first of all, I've never been in a fight. I don't need to be. Like nobody, we don't need to experience that. It's also just like not something that I believe in. I don't believe in fighting. I don't believe in being aggressive with people. I don't believe in arguing with people to solve a problem. Like that's just so far removed from who I am. So for when I get like this, it's a little scary to me because it's also repeating the cycle, to be honest, of all the things that ended and got me here, that it's just repeating the behaviors of people that did hurt me, and me wanting to retaliate against that. And I don't believe in that. Like at some point we have to take accountability for our own healing and take accountability for our own actions and decide how we have to move forward. And we can't let the things that let us become jaded become who we are, and that's something I truly believe in. So again, when I get into these modes, it's like, who is this person? And I don't know. I genuinely don't know sometimes. And that's been heavy. It's been a little scary. There's been stuff going on at my other job. And I say it like that only because I'm really trying to move into the movement space full time. Like it is I know in my heart, it is my sole purpose to help women heal through movement. 100%. I love helping everybody in some kind of way heal. I love having conversations with people. I love holding space for people. And I truly love movement. Like, I love dancing. I love the gym and working out and moving my body and all the release that has come from that. I love learning about somatics. Like, I know that I'm meant to be in the healing space, and I know it's meant to be with the modalities of movement, pole dance, dance somatics, like all of that. Like, I know it, and I feel like I'm on the brink of it. So part of the anger and frustration too is like I feel like I'm right there, but I have to give so much freaking energy to this that I don't feel as passionate about. But I need to like get that check. I need to, and like I do love a lot of aspects of my job. I love the people that I work with. I love the kids that I work with. I love it. But at the same time, like it's not what I want to do forever. And when you have to spend minimum of 40 hours a week and so much time and so much energy, and also I don't want to get too much about what I do away because I feel like the pole dance space is so opposite of what I do, but like whatever. Who cares at this point? I'm the director of like a school, and so I'm in charge. And truly in that position, you're dealing with people. You're dealing with adults. Like that's the main part of my job. Excuse me. That's the main part of my job, and it's a lot. Like I feel like I'm a therapist sometimes. I'm a mediator. I am doing things that I've never had to do before for people. I also, when you're in charge of anything or the leader of anything, when something goes wrong, all eyes are on you. The blame is on you. It's always your fault. Like and that's hard. Like it's not an easy thing to deal with. So anybody in a position of power and like a leadership position that truly takes it seriously and like really takes into consideration like their staff members, their employees' feelings, like that's a freaking hard job. And so I see you because I'm dealing with that as well. And actually at my job right now, so I kind of built up the program that I'm running, and I'm really proud of myself for that and really proud of everything that my entire team has been able to create. And I've been asked to take on a second location, which has been really hard because now I'm coming in as a new person, a new leader. I'm trying to clean up messes that I didn't make, and I'm taking a lot of heat from people just not wanting to change, what was going on before. And again, like these weren't my messes. I didn't make these messes. I also didn't decide like I'm just going to go in here and change XYZ. Like I was given a job to do like by my bosses, and I'm trying to do it, and I'm getting a lot of pushback. And I can feel the negative energy towards me, which is something that I don't deal with at my location. I have a really good rapport with pretty much everybody there. So this is very weird. It's very polarizing. Like I feel on the outside, like, and I'm trying to gain the trust of these people, and it's just, I'm hitting a wall a little bit. So that's also been really hard because I don't like that. You know? I don't like it at all, actually. Like, I don't like to feel like that. And I also don't like to, again, when I'm already trying so hard to work on everything else, and like I built my program up and I set routines and systems, and like now I'm coming into really double the work because I'm still at my other location as well. And it's been a lot. It's been really heavy. That's been really hard. Um, my relationship with Anthony is amazing. Like we have a really great relationship, but even within any relationship, there are ups and there are downs and there are things that we're both trying to work on. And, there are some parts of that that have been heavy. Um, I feel like the biggest thing for me with that is when I do feel like this, I don't know I don't think he knows how to relate to me in a way like that I kind of need him to, or like I need somebody to. And it doesn't have to be him, and I'm going to go into that in a second. But like when I feel like this, again, I'm very easily triggered. I'm very easily like irritated at things, and like I know it's not right for me to take it out on him, and I truly, truly, truly try not to. But I also just need to be in my own energy, and sometimes I feel like that's the thing that he doesn't understand, and then he takes it very personally, which is something that we've been trying to work on as a couple. Like me being in a bad mood is not me being angry at you, and I really, really try not to project it that way. But even in the moments where I'm just kind of to myself and being quiet to myself, like that's taken as, me being angry at him, or he feels like he needs to kind of fix it for me. And that's not realistic, like it's not his problem to fix. So that's kind of something that we're struggling with. And he's also going through his own stuff, and life is life, and we're trying to get through that together. So I just feel like in every area of my life there's just like a disconnect somehow, like, and it's really hard to feel like that when you're coming down from such a high. Like again, like we had the wedding, we had the honeymoon. On the honeymoon, I had so many realizations. Like I felt so connected to the universe and so connected to my purpose. And like I was realizing all of these things. And when I came home from the honeymoon is when I started the YouTube channel, I started the podcast. Like I understood the assignment in my reels and on Instagram for the first time. Like that was a really high. Like again, I'm working on so many things right now, like that I still haven't brought to life that I'm so excited about. But like it was like all of a sudden in this past month, in the past few weeks, it's like I went from here to like down here. And I'm struggling with even the thought of it because I don't want everything that I've built to just not be there anymore. And I think that that's something that we need to talk about as well, because life is so full of cycles, right? Like there are always going to be ups and there are always going to be downs, but that doesn't mean that everything that I'm working towards has to end, or it doesn't mean that I'm not doing the right thing either, like I feel like when I get into these moments of just rough moments, I I kind of question and second guess, and like I feel like I'm gonna start to lose everything. That's like really truly where a big piece of the anxiety comes in for me, because I do know how important gratitude is, and I know how important it is to be on like that high receiving vibration. So when I'm feeling low, I feel like, oh shit, like I've been working so hard, like, am I gonna lose it? Is this what's gonna be like what takes it all from me? Is this like, is my motivation gonna be so low that I can't keep up with the podcast and the YouTube channel? Is it gonna be so low that I can't show up authentically online? Like that's kind of where my mind goes, and it's like it's even more pressure and it's even more heaviness, because it's like I don't I don't want that. Like I don't want to do that. And so then I put this pressure on myself to like get back up there. Like how can I, and I'm chasing like cheap dopamine instead of just really fixing the problem. And that's where I'm at right now. and I'm trying really hard to like fix the problem. And yeah, it's been a journey for me of these past few weeks. But I did something that I'm really proud of, and I'm going back to therapy, a therapy girly. Um, I haven't been to therapy since 2021. I was going for a little while when I was dealing with the resurfacing of the traumatic memories that I was kind of alluding to before, and really trying to work through just a lot. It's when me and Anthony had, it was like right before me and Anthony had gotten engaged, but we had just moved in with each other within that year. And I was really just dealing with a lot of change. And I feel like that's another big theme in my life. Like when I'm going through change, I'm going through like everything at once, like everything's changing at once. And that always happens to me. And that's a lot. It's a lot for the nervous system. It's truly like a shock to the body. And again, like I'm so used to like having to be this resilient character, like my whole life. I feel like I've just kind of had to like get through to the next thing and to the next thing and to the next thing and just keep it freaking pushing, you know? And we're not meant to be like that. We're not meant to be like always in a state of doing, you know? That's a very masculine energy to be in the doing. And we live in a very masculine forward world, but the feminine is about taking it slow and listening to your intuition and being with yourself. And that's a balance that I've been trying to figure out my entire life basically. But especially in moments of like high stress and high anxiety and just like chaoticness. Like I just feel like everything is everywhere right now. And that's something I'm really struggling with. And yeah, but as I was saying, I am trying really hard to not let this consume me, and I want to be proactive about it. And with the magnitude of everything that's gone on in my life, again, like going back to like that example I was giving before, when a friend comes to you with something, it's like very easy to understand what they're feeling and to like give them that empathy and to give them that understanding and to hold that space for them. But like sometimes, at least for me, I don't think I recognize like how heavy certain things were until I really step back. Or sometimes I'll tell somebody something and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Of course I'm okay. Like, what do you mean?" And I don't understand truly like how hard it is to deal with that and to be one person dealing with so much. And so I'm going back to therapy because I feel like I need to talk to somebody and just like really live in my truth and live in my vulnerability and be given tools to like move through it, you know? Like I facilitated my own healing journey my whole life without with the exception of that like little blip where I did go to therapy. And I stopped at that time because it was a very holistic therapy approach and I loved it. I loved it so much, but it was so expensive. I wasn't making as much money as I am now. And also I really don't think I was ready to dig that deep. I was still like going through my own stuff, and she had even explained to me like if we go down this journey, like if we really open up this box and like really unpack what you're feeling right now, like I it's a commitment, because if I start it and you decide to stop in the middle, like you are probably going to be worse off than you were before. And hearing that, I think definitely put like some fear in my mind, because I knew I didn't really have the means to commit to it, and I also didn't know if I wanted to. And so I had made that decision to kind of stop at that time. I went for like a month and a half, and then I stopped. Um, but I'm at a point right now where I think I need somebody to talk to who doesn't really know me, who doesn't know anybody involved, and who can just tell me how else to deal with this. Because again, like I've facilitated my own healing journey for a really long time. I've learned to heal so much through movement, but that's not the only thing. And especially when you're dealing with things that are really huge and things that have been happening since I was a child, you know, like I'm dealing with a lot of heaviness. I'm dealing with a lot of heaviness. And I don't want to I just don't wanna go back. Like, that's, like, my biggest thing. Like, I really don't wanna go back to where I was before because I'm so excited about everything that I've been building, and I want somebody to just give me tools and, like, and maybe they're tools that I already do know or already do use, but, like, just to hear somebody else say it and to, like, validate my feelings and to be honest with, like, even on this podcast, I can't tell you everything because, like, I don't wanna put anybody else in a weird situation, like, I don't wanna out anybody. I don't wanna share anybody's business that doesn't need to be shared, and I also don't want to, like, tell my entire life story to the entire world right now. This podcast is still new. We're just getting to know each other. But, like, it's very different. Like, I feel like the patient-therapist relationship, and yeah, I just need somebody to be able to be raw and vulnerable with, and I'm really looking like, so I did my intake forms, and one of the questions was like, "What are you looking for from this?" And I really had to think about that because and I also wrote on my intake forms, I am annoyingly self-aware. Like, I know why I am the way that I am. I love psychology, and I minored in it in college. Like, that was one of my favorite things to learn about, maybe because of, like, everything that I was feeling and, I went through. But and again, like, just I've always been called to help people and to help heal people. Like, that's something that I've truly, truly always been called to, like, my whole life. So I think learning about psychology was, like, really cool and interesting to me. So I've taken all of that, and also I've just had always had a really strong intuition and a really strong, like, relationship with myself. I've always had a really strong relationship with my body, and, like, I can tell you something that's wrong with me before I see a doctor. Like, it's actually it's crazy. Like, people have been like, "No," and I'm like, "No, no, watch, I'm gonna go, and this is what they're gonna tell me," and it's literally what they tell me. Like, I know myself, I know my life, I know me, and so yeah, just, like, annoyingly self-aware. But, I had writ like, I wasn't sure what I wanted to get out of it because when you are so self-aware, you feel like you should be able to heal yourself. Like, you should be able to I should be able to use the tools that I'm telling everybody else and, like, make myself feel better, and that's the story I kind of kept replaying in my head for so long. But the truth is, like, sometimes you need a little more. Like, it's okay to need more help, and I am a huge advocate for therapy because I think everybody can use it, to be honest, like, truly everybody. Um, so I think it's time to really practice what I preach, and to go and to take the active steps that I need to take to, like, really heal myself right now, and to sit with everything that I've been feeling for the first time in a really long time, and to move through it maybe with somebody for the first time. Like, I need somebody consistent who has the tools and the capacity to help me. And I'm excited to see where this journey goes. And I'll definitely keep you guys updated on my therapy journey. I'm really hoping that it's able to do something for me to just, again, to be raw and vulnerable and to tell somebody everything from start to finish, because that's something I really haven't done either. There are things that nobody knows about me, but I don't think that there's a point in going to therapy if you're gonna hide anything, because, like, they can't help you then. So I'm really excited to just really open up about everything, and again, just to get the tools to, like, move through these feelings instead of just packing so much more on my plate that, like, I don't have to feel them, because that has become my new coping mechanism, and it's not a healthy one. So yeah. That is what I'm dealing with. I'm going back to therapy. I'm also trying new things, so I'm really excited about that. Maybe it's just another distraction, going back to that coping mechanism thing, but I also think it's really cool to, like, to not sit in it, like, to not sit in it in a way that, like, debilitates you, like, I want to feel my feelings, and I want to slow down, and I want to take things easy. That's another thing that I've noticed about myself. So anytime I'm going through, like, these periods of high stress, high anxiety, the first thing to go is my spirituality practices, which I haven't been meditating, which is so weird. Like, that's such a regular practice for me. Like, it's actually really bothering me that I feel like an aversion to it. And I think it's because I'm scared of what's gonna come up, to be honest. Like, I'm scared to feel my feelings right now. and to sit with things and to like, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't been meditating. I haven't been doing my breath work. I do like little readings for myself. I haven't been doing that. Like usually every Sunday, like I'll come in my studio in here and I'll have like I call it Spirit Sunday before I start doing content stuff. I'll pull a few cards, like I'll have a long meditation a session. I haven't done it in a really long time. I haven't meditated, I think, since my honeymoon, which I got back in the beginning of July. So yeah, so weird. It's weird for me. Like but again, like it's the first thing to go because I know I don't know what's gonna come up, but I know something's gonna come up. And that's kind of what I've been avoiding. I've been avoiding, ladies and gentlemen. If you are anything like me and you are avoiding, this is your sign to like put your big girl pants on, your big boy pants on, and take some accountability and do something about it because if that's hard in itself. It's hard to take accountability for these times in our life and realize that like no one's coming to save us. Like nobody is gonna wave a magic wand and make it feel better. And anything that, for me at least, anything that I'm doing is a temporary fix. It's like a band-aid. There's putting a band-aid on it and not really getting to the root of the wound. And I don't want to do that anymore. So yeah. But I am trying new things, which is what I was going to go into before. I am going to be doing gymnastics, adult gymnastics, which I'm so excited about. Just like new movement practices, just different things to just get me out there. I'm also like really looking forward to just meeting new people in different communities. That's something that's really important to me as well, and something that has been such a game changer on my healing journey is just like meeting my people, my pockets of people, and I meet them at the pole studio, at the yoga studio, hopefully at the gymnastics place. But like people who are truly on the same path, and like you don't get to meet those people by just going to your job and going home, Like you don't get to find your community by sitting in your room all day and or sitting on your couch and watching Netflix. Like for me, like yes, it's a new movement practice. And it may be seen as like a distraction, but it's also an opportunity for me to connect with more people. And that's something that I've kind of been avoiding too because of everything I've been going through. So that's really the intention there. So I'm really excited about that. And what else? What else do I have going on in my life? Not too much. I just really wanted to update you guys on like on all of that. And like, I'll leave you with some stuff that you can do as well and how to be accountable for your feelings because it's it's a lot. It's a lot to feel like this and it's so easy to keep distracting and to keep deflecting and to keep projecting. Those are the things that we as humans do quite often when we're in these states and I don't want any of us to do that. Like we are so much better off when we can like release and let it go and let ourselves feel. And that's what I want for you. And therapy is a really big step. I truly think though, like it's important for most people, I think all people to do to at least try. Um, you know, but everyone's on their own journey. I think it's really important to find something that can connect you to yourself. Pole dancing, dance in general is so huge for that. Like, and even though it's not like getting to the root of my problem right now, like I think I need a little bit extra. Like there has been, I think this week alone, I've been in this studio or at a studio or pole dancing somehow like 5 times this week. Like, and I usually do like three to four, but like I've really been leaning into my dance practice. And that's something that, you can do as well. Like find something that you're passionate about, like find something that brings you closer to yourself that brings you moments of peace and pockets of joy and like do it, do it. Could be painting, could be cooking, baking, like anything that just and I feel like it should be a creative act. Like I am such a I might be a little bit biased, but I feel like creating something there's nothing in the world that feels like it because like you put your energy into something, like you made something. And I feel like that in itself is so healing, it's so rewarding. So I would highly recommend just some kind of creative pursuit. And creativity is whatever you want it to be, So whatever speaks to you, and I say those words, like I would definitely recommend. I am going to have to take my own advice and I will take accountability for that. I would definitely say to breathe, like meditate, sit with yourself, breathe, see what comes up, practice different somatic practices. I actually have a YouTube channel. By the time this is posted, it'll actually already be up. So it has different somatic practices that you can do that don't involve dancing that can help promote healing to calm the nervous system down. But I think the biggest thing that I want to really push is that, like, understand that you're in control of your emotions and take accountability for that. Whether it's booking that first therapy appointment, or it's having a difficult conversation with your partner, or it's admitting you are wrong and picking up the pieces from there. Like, you are in control of your life. We are so much more in control than we give ourselves credit for. And it's so easy to, again, like, play the victim and allow the circumstances of your life to just put you at a standstill and to keep you the same. But we don't have to live our lives like this. And we also don't have to be afraid of these moments either. Life is meant to be a cycle. We are literally on earth to learn lessons, to be able to grow as people and to fulfill our purposes. And we'll never ever ever grow as people if there's never any hardship, there's nothing to learn if everything comes to us so easily. So understand that these moments are necessary, and I'm talking to myself just as much as I'm talking to you. Understand that these rough patches, these hard times, the low lows, like, they are also necessary, because there is no growth to be had from everything being easy, from everything coming to you naturally. Like, that's not how we grow as people. As much as trauma and, like, rough times and, like, really shitty experiences, as much as they freaking suck, for me at least, like, I think about the type of person that I'd be if I had never gone through them, and I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be recording this podcast. I probably wouldn't be sitting in my own studio. Like, maybe I wouldn't even be pole dancing. Like, could you imagine how different the trajectory of my life would be if I didn't go through what I had gone through? I truly believe that everything does happen for a reason, and I know that that's like a shitty cop out sometimes, and it feels like the last thing you want to hear when you are going through it. But every experience shapes us in some way, and the most amazing thing is we get to choose how it shapes us. And it doesn't feel like that in the moment. And in the moment, like, we don't have that much control, but we get to decide at some point, like, what we want to learn from this. And we are the author of our story, and we can control the narrative, again, so much more than we think we can. You don't have to let something affect you negatively forever. These periods are going to come and they're going to go, and things are going to feel so freaking heavy, and they're going to hurt. It hurts. It hurts to be human, period. It hurts to be human. We're meant to experience pain. We're meant to experience, and what a gift it is, like, that's another thing I try to tell myself. I'm talking to me, I'm talking to you. It is truly a blessing to be able to feel anything, like, and we wouldn't be able to feel or understand how amazing, I'm gonna get emotional about it, but we wouldn't be able to understand, like, how amazing life could be if we didn't have the hard parts too, So everything within reason, and everything has a reason, and it's amazing. So if you get anything from this podcast episode, like, I'm truly here to just be honest with you guys and let you know what I'm going through and things that I'm doing to work through it, and to maybe help you and inspire you and connect with you. Like, again, just going back to the community piece, like, connection is so important and community is so important. And all that I'm trying to build is a community of people who want to heal and want to make the most out of life, because we deserve it. Like, we truly all deserve it. And these times are going to happen. Like, no matter how deserving or how worthy or how much we should be able to receive, and, like, all the dreams that we have, like, no matter what, there's going to be hard times. There's going to be rough patches and just really shitty moments. and it's trying, it's really trying. And it's the easiest thing to do is to quit. It's easy to quit. It's easy to play the victim. It's easy to stay the same. It's hard to do the work. It's hard to move forward. It's hard to pick up the pieces and hold yourself the way that nobody else will, and to take that accountability. It's hard to look in the mirror and say, I need to do something about this. And that doesn't always feel fair because maybe we didn't spark whatever happened. But we do have to take accountability for our lives, for being the author of our story. And again, we get to choose how it affects us. And if you take anything from this, I hope you take that, like, no matter what you're going through, you have the capacity to work through it on some level and to change how it affects you. You don't have to let it affect you negatively forever. And you take the time you need and sit with it and be with your emotions and feel it. But then, at some point, we have to do something about it. And I am trying to do something about it for the first time in like a way that feels bigger than it ever has before. And that's really why I wanted to share it too, because again, like, I feel like I've done everything on my own. Like, that's something that made my relationship with Anthony really hard. Like, I'm so used to doing everything on my own that when he tried to come in and be like, let me help you, I was like, no. Like, I am a strong, independent woman. Like, I don't need your help. But like, that created such a rift for us because it's like, that's not how life is supposed to be. Like, you're supposed to have people, you're supposed to have community, you're supposed to have help, right? And it's the same thing for a healing journey. Like, yes, use movement as a tool and use the somatic practices and be able to heal yourself in those moments, but understand when you need something more and you need the help of a community and you need the help of a professional, seek it. Seek it and allow yourself to receive it, and don't judge yourself for it. We're all a little crazy. I don't know if you know that, but like, we're all a little messed up in the head. I've never had a conversation with anybody who doesn't have trauma. Truly. I've never had a conversation with somebody who is 100% healed, 100% enlightened, 100% on the right path. I've never had a conversation with somebody who has everything figured out, because we don't. Anybody that you think is like that, like, that's a lie. That's a straight up lie. We're all a little crazy. We all go through things. We all need help sometimes. And it's okay to seek it, and it's okay. It's okay to be in that. And again, talking to myself just as much as I'm talking to you, because this has been such a difficult thing for me to really grasp and to like take a hold of and to just sit with. It's been really hard, and I've been struggling, and I really just let my friends in on what's going on. I really just let Anthony in on what's going on within the past couple of days, and I wasn't going to do an episode about it, and I was like, I feel like I need to, because again, I'm having so many conversations with people who are going through similar things, like, not like similar experiences, but just similar feelings and similar heaviness. And like, right now, call it the stars, call it the universe, call it whatever you want, but I feel like collectively there's something going on. And even if you don't want to believe in that, again, we are getting closer to the winter blues. We are getting shorter days, darker earlier. It's getting a little cold. We all know what happens when that happens, and it's again really easy to slip into old patterns. It's really easy to just be complacent. It's hard to do the work. It's hard to accept the help. And my biggest thing and the last thing that I'm going to leave you with is like, you can do hard things. You can do hard things. And you've done a million hard things before this, right? And you've gotten through, and you're here, and you're listening to this, and there's a reason you're listening to this. And we're going to get through it together. We are. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for listening to me and holding space for me. And if you're going through anything, please feel free to reach out to me however you want to. You can reach out to me on Instagram. That's probably like where I'll answer the quickest. I'm always on there, but I love connecting with people. I do love helping people heal, and I love hearing your stories and just again feeling that sense of oneness. We are all one. We are all on the journey of life. We are all trying to get through and to get by, and I think it's such a beautiful reminder of what it means to be human when we can find those moments of vulnerability and connection with each other. So that's what I leave you with today. I am sending all the love, all the great energy that I have to you. Again, thank you so much for listening. And if you need anything from me, I am here for you. I love you. I hope you have the most amazing day. Bye.